Good morning. My name is Kyla Kendrick, and I am this year's president of the St. Mary's chapter of the National Beta Club. The National Beta Club's mission is to promote the ideals of academic achievements, character, leadership, and service. Students meeting the academic requirements are reviewed by faculty to assess their character and leadership. The eligible students are then invited to submit an application detailing what service means to them and what community service they have been involved with in the past.
Hello, my name is Kaylin Ingram, and I am this year's Beta Club Vice President. Today we are recognizing the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors who have completed the process and their efforts to give back to the community. This year has brought many challenges, including a lack of safe service opportunities. So we are especially proud of the contributions our girls have made to the community. As your name is called, please come forward, receive your gift, and return to your seat. We will ask that you please hold your applause until the end.
Fia Arbelize for her work with Meriton, St. Mary's Library, and Operation Joy. Megan Aslan for her work with Germantown Presbyterian Church, Streets Ministries, and the Ronald McDonald House. Emerson Bear for her work with Multinational Ministries, St. Jude, and St. Mary's Library. Lily Becker for her work with Notre Dame Club, raking leaves at a Catholic covenant and assisting with moving items within the church. Raina Becker with her work with Oak Haven Neighborhood. Ella Benetone for her work with the Emmanuel Center, Le Bonheur, and Holmes Elementary. Stella Blend for her work with Multinational Ministries, Memphis Federation of Temple Youth, and the Mid-South Food Bank. Josie Block for her work with the Church of Holy Communion, Grace St. Luke's Church, and the Mid-South Food Bank. Christiana Bowling for her work with Pink Palace, Madonna Learning Center, and the Salvation Army. Jane Claire Braswell for her work with Sukasa Ministries and Operation Joy. Kelsey Brown for her work with the Mid-South Food Bank, Calvary Rescue Missions, and Soul Out Ministries. Allie Burkhart for her work with Heifer International, St. Jude Memphis Marathon, and Atlantic Food Pantry. Kaki Callan for her work with YMCA Women's Shelter, Operation Christmas Child. Madison Carr for her work with Multinational Ministries, the Mid-South Food Bank, and New Sardis Baptist Church. Hannah Chancellor for her work with Operation Joy, Memphis Interfaith Association, and Meriton. Kelsey Cowles for her work with Crosstown, preparing and delivering homeless boxes and writing notes to a senior living home. Ella Curlin for her work with the Mid-South Food Bank and St. Mary's Library. Isabel Syriac for her work with the Mid-South Food Bank, a priest from Kerala, India, and Our Lady of Perpetual Help Soup Kitchen. Juliana Damron for her work with Neighborhood Christian Center, Kelly's Corner, and Miss Vicky's Shelter. Bianca Dishman for her work with Jack and Jill, National Alliance on Mental Illness, and Vance Avenue Community Center. Mia Engelberg for her work with St. Jude, Benai Zedek, and Baron Hirsch Sandwich Project. Anna Catherine Farmer for her work with Ash Flat Livestock Auction, Easter Basket Drive, and horseback riding lessons. Peyton Gallick for her work with the Humane Society, Collierville Lobos Top Soccer Program, and St. Jude. Caroline Garrett for her work with the Reverse Advent Calendar, Operation Joy, and Vacation Bible School. Kennedy Graham for her work with Leadership Memphis, Vance Avenue Youth Center, and Global Youth Ambassadors. Kayla Gurley for her work with the Humane Society, St. Mary's Library, and Hope Church. Jennifer Hahn for her work with Chinese Academy of Memphis, Mid-South Food Bank, and St. Mary's Library. Hayden Hedges for her work with the Mid-South Food Bank, MIFA, and Salvation Army. Sophie Herbstreth for her work with St. Jude, Memphis Interfaith Association, and the Reverse Advent Calendar. Eliza Herman for her work with Memphis Jewish Community and MIFA. Katie Hill for her work with Girl Scouts, Trinity United Methodist Church, and New Spark Performing Arts. Lily Hirsch for her work with the Jewish Home and Baron Hirsch Sandwich Project. Caroline Holtzclaw for her work with MIFA, Reverse Advent Calendars, and Operation Joy. Avery Howell for her work with Bartlett Elementary School, Buckman Dance Conservatory, and MIFA. Caroline Hunt with her work with Rooms at the Inn, Mid-South Food Bank, and St. Mary's Library. Emma Hurst for her work with Southern Rain, St. Jude Leadership Society in Meriton. Emmy Infield for her work with Temple Israel, BBYO Jewish Youth Project, and Baron Hirsch Sandwich Project. Isabel Isaacs for her work with St. Mary's Library. Julia Jabor with her work with Bridge Builders, MIFA Meals on Wheels, and Kingsbury Elementary School. Riley Johnson with her work with Interact, Lakeview Community Temple, and DeSoto Grace. Sam Jones for her work with Sierra Club, St. Jude, and the Mid-South Food Bank. Mary Kate Kaladimas with her work with Mila Sweets, volleyball, and voter registration drives. Lily Carnes with her work with Idlewild Presbyterian, Shelby County COVID Youth Response Team, and Playhouse on the Square. And Kai Keith for her work with Bridge Builders, Christ Missionary Baptist Church, and the Salvation Army.
Maggie Kustoff for her work with Salvation Army and the Red Cross. Alexandra Lafferty for her donations to Goodwill and Operation Joy. Amzie Libano for her work with Bridge Builders, Streets Ministries, and St. Mary's Library. Reagan Lewis for her work with MIFA, Locks of Love, and the Police Department. Elizabeth McQueen for her work with Binghamton Academy and St. Mary's Library. Megan Amadasu for her work with Catholic Charities of Memphis, St. Anne's Catholic Church, and Meriton Nursing Home. Lauren Massey for her work with Young Life and St. Mary's Library. Ellie Monahan for her work with Emmanuel Center, Holy Communion, and Salvation Army. Sarah Moon for her work with MIFA, the Humane Society, and Ballet Memphis. Mary Morrow for her work with Christ Feeds, Operation Joy, and Binghamton Christian Academy. Rosamund Mullinax for her work with St. Mary's Library and St. Jude. Lillian Nazarova for her work with MIFA, Sister Supply, and St. Jude. Soraya Nazor for her work with St. Mary's Soup Kitchen, the Veterans Hospital, and Porter Leith. Abby Neal for her work with Rachel's Kids and Edge Community Triangle. Caroline O'Brien for her work with her church's youth group and Project Mexico. Erica Ormseth for her work with Binghamton Christian Academy, Chickasaw Country Club, and Memphis Pets Alive. Sarah Ottinger for her work with tutoring relatives on Zoom, Dungeons and Dragons Club at St. Mary's. Kennedy Polk for her work with National Alliance on Mental Illness, St. Jude, College Park Senior Living Community. Kate Prillman for her work with MIFA and National Ornamental Metal Museum. Anam Raza for her work with Bridge Builders, Pakistan Association of Memphis, and Operation Joy. Caroline Robinson for her work with Correctional Counseling and St. Mary's Library. Catherine Rogers for her work with St. Francis of Assisi's Animal Rescue Club and St. Jude and Birthright. Ellis Rougeau for her Rotary Club of Memphis, Café du Memphis, and St. Jude. Ellie Royal for her work with Thrive Memphis, MIFA Meals on Wheels, and Memphis Jewish Home. Bronwyn Satkamp for her work with Mid-South Food Bank and Grace St. Luke's Church. Rebecca Schweitzer for her work with Bridge Builders Collaborate, St. Jude Hospital, and NVS Dance Studio. Mary Page Scott for her work with donating Christmas presents and St. Mary's Library. Brennan Seltzer for her work with Room in the Inn, St. Mary's Convent, and Caritas Community Garden. Sydney Shanker for her work with Straying by Sid, Mid-South Food Bank, and Thrive Memphis. Anna Smith for her work with New Ballet, Operation Joy, and Mariposa Collective. Camille Smith for her work with Simple Studies, Rise Foundation, and St. Peter's Church. Emily Smith for her work with Forrest Spence Fund, Idlewild Presbyterian Church, and the Bonner. Mia Sofker for her work with Multinational Ministries, St. Jude, and MIFA. Riley Stewart for her work with Idlewild Presbyterian Church and MIFA. Darla Soot for her work with Food Tent Volunteer, Kindred Place, and St. Mary's. Mila Shkovsky, Operation Joy, Watching Her Friends, and Baking for SMCF. Ryan Tyler for her work with Operation Warm Heart, River City chapter of the Lynx, and Voter Collaborative. Julia Van Hooser for her work with St. Mary's Library, the Humane Society, and Mid-South Food Bank. Bree Volding for her work with Emmanuel Center, MLK Arts Unite, and Mariposa's Collective. Shelby Williams for her work with St. Mary's Volleyball, St. Mary's Library, and Operation Joy. Sanaya Young for her work with St. Mary's Library and St. Jude. And Sophie Younger for her work with Buckman Dance Conservatory, Memphis University School, and St. Mary's Theater.
Inductees, please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me the National Beta Club oath. I solemnly declare that I shall always strive to hold fast to the principles of honesty and to cultivate in my life the principles of service and leadership as set forth by the National Beta Club.
Congratulations to you all. After dismissal of chapel, please stay in your seat for instructions about taking a photo. Thank you.
Welcome, new members of the Beta Club. I want to thank you personally and on behalf of the school for your achievement, leadership, character, and community service that has brought you thus far, and for all the members you join in the selfless work you do. The list of service you rendered tells a wonderful story. I was looking, let's just say, at another school's profile recently where they proudly stated that 100% of their student body participated in community service. Of course, they failed to mention that it was a requirement. In our case, and younger students, in case you don't know this, we do not compel St. Mary's students to serve, but service is part of who we are. So it's difficult to count how many hours of service are represented among our 86 new members, but a fair estimate for this past year is probably around 8,000 hours in over 130 unique places. You serve not because you have to, but because you want to. Thank you for serving your community with hearts of compassion, and certainly during a year where the need was greater, and I imagine the ability to serve was all the more difficult. Congratulations, and now we will hear our alma mater.
There is one announcement today. For the upper school, we'll all be celebrating the accomplishments of our 86 inductees into the National Beta Club and to the community of service at St. Mary's. There are treats in the commons of each of the upper school commons rooms. Those who are in your classrooms watching chapel, please remember that the new inductees are going to take a picture and they won't be there immediately. Please make sure that they are able to receive some of the treats that are there when they get there. Thank you. Please stand. Let us go forth in joy to love and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.